Wait a second. Wait, where are the patch notes? Should be here, right? The update in which they finally fixed Juggernaut. Wait a second. These are under this? That's so weird. What the heck? You have to scroll down to see it. Okay, guys. Oops. This page is so buggy. You can just like... This happens like every time I do patch note readings. I click on something on the side and it scrolls like... Yeah, I just clicked on... I don't know why it scrolls that far when you... I'm not even clicking on the scroll bar. Okay. Anyway, this is it, guys. Patch notes. August 15th. Crashes. You know what they are. You know what we do to them. What we did to somewhere. Good verbiage. Good stuff. Always very, very funny. Tongue-in-cheek. When a unit is hexed and can't pop away, it'll not hop in place and doesn't say hex indefinitely. So that was an interesting bug before, where it literally, if it doesn't have a move spot, the hops don't trigger. And since hexes right now are coded to basically just use hops as a measurement, and hop is 500 milliseconds, if it actually is able to take the hop, could stay hexed indefinitely. It was pretty rare to see that, but it's just some random bug. It's not really a balance changes. Honestly, I think we can just skip straight to like the balance and gameplay changes. UI is now toggled between large and small screens separately. You can now run the old PC mode UI for tablets. That fixes many issues with running large screen UI on mobile devices and the small screen UI on PCs. Interesting, interesting. Does this matter? I don't think I'm going to use that, right? Party matches now start through the regular play button once a party's formed. Sure, fixed sigils being clipped. Fixing, just UI stuff. Sure, it doesn't really matter. Matchmaking. So here's the matchmaking change that we were all eagerly awaiting. I'm a really big fan of this change. The matchmaking, I was saying like on basically, I think the first or second day of the big update, the last big update was basically, I loved everything about it except for the change to matchmaking. And here we are. Now they've fixed the matchmaking change that they did, and suddenly this looks a lot better. This is a much bigger incentive towards like lords to actually play the game, because most lords basically just weren't playing the game at all because the matchmaking system made it kind of pointless. But now suddenly we have, you know, the good old ELO system that we need. Basically how it worked before was that there just there wasn't any actual ELO, right? It was just your progress was a function of two things, which was your win rate and your play rate. So if you have a high win rate and if you have a high play rate, you just play forever and just gain MMR forever. Whereas now, suddenly, we have an ELO system, which makes it matter what opponents you fight, which basically means that it's going to be less incentivized to just play and grind a ton, which I think is just better. And a lot of people, including me, are going to be back to like tryharding ladder because of this. I'm a big fan of this update, so I think I plan on probably starting to like grind out ranked wins and do like slightly less experimental stuff. Like for the past few days, I've been like playing different ways of playing Brawny. Dude, we lost a lot of MMR. Literally just doing like aggressive early roll Brawny stuff. That was really, really bad. But this is great. This actually incentivizes me to care about my MMR. So I'm very happy about this change. Hero changes. Juggernaut. Juggernaut continues to attack his current target normally while spinning. Wait, what? Like he does damage? What? That's crazy. Yo, let's buff Brownies. Okay. Holy shit. Huge Brawny buff. So for those of you guys who don't know, Juggernaut, when he was spinning, did attacks, but they did no damage. So you could proc stuff like Maelstrom and Basher, which is why Maelstrom on Jug is good, but he didn't deal damage. This was why Mask of Madness is good, because you wanted to silence the thing on your 3-star Jug just so he could deal damage. This is basically crazy. This is a gigantic buff. So Blade Fury lasts how long? Wait. No, seriously. It was, what is it, 4 seconds? 3 seconds? I think it's 4, right? 5 seconds. 5 seconds at 3-star Jug. 3-star Jug is literally like 6.5 attacks that you just get for free now. Huge buff. Monumental buff for this absolute unit. Mostly this is a buff to Brawnies. Although what it might mean now is maybe in like 6 Warrior, you know, even if you're not running Brawny, you could run it. 6 Warrior is still not that much of a thing right now. That's very interesting. So you should treat this as a buff to Brawny. Just because Brawny's kind of the only comp right now that runs Juggernaut. Ogre Magi. Mana cost is now 0, cooldown is still 5 seconds. So he cast it at the start of the fight. This also means if you're using Ogre Magi level 1 as a sacrifice for your big time contract, he'll start the game by bloodlusting, right? Which means even if he's level 1, he'll still cast Bloodlust before he dies. I mean, hey, that's pretty good. Bloodlust is now one of the most insane skills in the game. I mean, it's pretty crazy. They recently have buffed Bloodlust. Like, the numbers on it are honking ridiculous. Attack speed bonus by 130%. That's like a moon shard and a half. And now it costs 0 mana. They keep buffing these units. I think this is kind of like... I think this is largely how we should expect patches to kind of occur in this game. Where, like, Ogre Magi and Juggernaut have both been buffed in almost every single patch of the entire game. Both of these units. Which is crazy. In like 80% of the patches in the game, they've buffed Ogre in one way or buffed Bloodbound. Almost every patch. Juggernaut's the same. And now suddenly, I mean, Juggernaut's been good and Ogre's been good. Both of these are already good units in this meta. Juggernaut just for its ability to fit into Brawny, of course, which is a top tier comp. Ogre is core now in my Exodia strat. Ogre's nuts. Ogre is crazy, dude. Puck. Phase shift will no longer trigger if Puck is hexed or stunned or force attacking a target. Force attacking? Like with Berserker's Call, I guess? Sure, that makes sense. Properly purges stuns, even those applied by the hit that triggered phase shift. It's like a Chaos Bolt or something like that. Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's not really much of a balance change. It's just tweaking the mechanics a little bit. Razor God damn it. Dude, you just can't click anywhere on the screen. It just does that. Okay, we're good. Razor, Plasma Field. Fix doing extra damage to units 1 cell away. It was doing more than it should. Fix doing half damage to units 3 cells away. Wait, what? It was doing half damage to units 3 cells away? I didn't know it was bugged. Fixed applying damage to units too early while the field is contracting. So it's just a bug fix. If it was doing half damage to units 3 cells away, that's a pretty big buff, right? It's kind of like, now Frontline Razor's less good because apparently he was doing too much damage to adjacent units, but now he does double damage to units 3 cells away? That's pretty crazy. That's partially explaining why Razor was so bad. He was doing half to 3 cells away. He was only doing 100, and now he's doing 200. That's pretty good. I don't think this is a big balance change. If anything, it probably makes the hero a bit stronger. But his AI is still shit. Yeah, exactly. Sand Kingu. Caustic Finale. Whenever Sand King damages an enemy with an attacker ability, the target is poisoned for 3.5 seconds. When the poison expires, it bursts and deals damage and slows the attack speed of all enemies adjacent to the target. Damage is halved if the target is still alive when the poison expires. Okay. I mean, sure. So it works kind of how it works in Dota. Attack slow duration halved. Eek. AoE damage if the target dies changed. Huh, interesting. It makes it scale better, but it's basically worse unless you're at level 3. That's interesting. Is this a buff or a nerf? That's the one thing I think. I mean, so it was the same thing before, but it just didn't expire. It didn't time out on units that didn't die, right? I think it's a nerf, right? It seems like a pretty notable nerf. Like the duration and the numbers are just tweaked down. And they made it like, they made the explosion happen when you don't have like the kill, but it's like, it's a pretty decent nerf, right? Caustic Finale wasn't working at all. Oh yeah, I remember the Reddit post saying Caustic Finale was bugged. That's true. It's a buff because it actually works now. It didn't apply attack speed slow unless he killed a unit. His burrow strike will apply to everything now, though. Huh. That's interesting. It was super bugged to be awful before. Yeah. So this is actually a buff then, just because it was bugged. So it's another bug fix buff. Sand King might actually be like fucking crazy now, right? Isn't this just like a ridiculous unit now? Since it was bugged before. They did scale it down to be a bit more in line. Assassins. I don't know, the problem is his tags. His tags are shit. Savage Assassin. If he had better tags, if he was like a Warlock or something, you'd throw this into fucking every comp, right? Where it's like, obviously there's some comps that can use the Savage tag, and there's some comps that can use the Assassin tag. But if he had an actually premium tag, this would be like the nuts unit. He's just balanced around his like fairly limiting tags. Sniper is now Scrappy. For free! Dude, what? Wait, they didn't even nerf him! Assassinate will not restart the cast if the target dies. He will... What the fuck? What? They buffed him and made him Scrappy? Hold up, dude. What? Dude. Holy shit. Getting the Scrappy tag for... So... Having this tag for free is a really, really big deal, by the way. So I actually, it's hard to express how much of a big deal that is, okay? So the way Scrappys win early game is getting the fourth Scrappy tier, the fourth Scrappy buffer up early. Because this effect kind of sucks, but then this one applies it to all four. So you're quadrupling the scale of your effect when you go from 2 to 4, which is really, really powerful, right? On top of, so basically, it just gives you much easier access to get Scrappys online early. To get Scrappys online early, you had to hit the perfect Bounty, Timber, Clock, Tinker, or a weird-ass pull Alchemist, right? Now you don't need the 4 specific units anymore. And 3 of them were Inventors anyway, and you're floating an Inventor slot, you don't want that either. So now, it's, like, the 4 Scrappy early is just nuts. It's easy to get. You don't have to float an Inventor tag for no reason. Holy shit, dude. And now you can do some weird Scrappy Hunter thing. He's connecting Scrappies and Hunters now. So like 4 Scrappy, 3 Hunter is now a thing, right? I don't know if it's like super good, but it's a thing you can do. And then you can pair Drow with Necro, right? So you can run like Drow, Necro for the Warlock. If you're in Hunter Scrappy, that sounds like it actually could be decent. I mean, why not, right? It's okay. If you put Mom on Sniper now, I'm reporting you to the FBI. It's still correct in some situations. Mom's not that good. Or sorry, Assassinate's still not that good. Mom is that good. Add Gyro for 4 Inventors and the Deadeye. So now Gyro fits in really well with this build. Because Gyro was like the 4th Inventor, now it's the free Deadeye. Dude, holy shit. This changes everything. This is like a meta changer. So Scrappy's is... The buff that Scrappy has just received, I think is really large. I think it is. Having 1 extra unit in your alliance is a really, really, really big change. And now 6 Scrappies is easy to get too. I mean, 6 Scrappies was kind of bad before, but now you can get it without techies. And if you want to, you can even like apply the buff to a good unit. Like you could do the same thing Elusives do and try to like spread your buff to like Terrorblade or Slark or something. If you get like 6 Scrappies, you don't need the techies anymore. Holy shit, dude. Again, I can't stress how much they buffed Scrappies by giving them Sniper. Like, this alliance getting 1 extra unit, that's just, it's a solid unit, it's 3-starable, it's good in the early, it even fits somewhat with what the alliance already wants to do. Like, Scrappies are just good now. You guys should expect, if you're in like high MR, I think you'll see like 2 Scrappies in all of your games. I will say though, I think that things are always going to be auto-balancing right now in the current format of the game. Like, if you see 3 or 4 people picking Scrappies, they're still going to be blocking each other. They still need the Tinker 3. You can't... I don't think they have a carrying capacity of more than 2. So if you see 2 people on Scrappies on, like, round 10, I wouldn't recommend taking that curve. I don't think so. It's still... I don't think there's really a build that supports more than 2 people going it right now. Yeah, I wouldn't say there is. I think, like, every build right now in the game has a carrying capacity of 2. And that's really good balance, I would say. Mostly just because 3 stars are so important and you really just don't want to get blocked off, right? So, I don't think Scrappies is so crazy good that it's an exception to that. It's just a good buff. I think they're just tier 1 now. They were arguably tier 1 before, depending on, like, who you ask. You know, some people put them in, like, tier 1.5. Some people put them in, like, tier 2. I thought they were, like, 1.5 or maybe 1. But, I mean, they're good now. They're just good now. That sniper change is ridiculous. Oh my god. I mean, how good is Scrappy's Hunters? That's what I want to know. Like, is that actually a build you can run? You kind of need to get the Sniper 3 for it to be worth it, right? So like I was saying, you pair like Necro with Drow, right? Necro links with Alchemist for Warlock, and Drow links with Undead with the Necro for the Hunter. So you have 3 Hunters, 4 Scrappies, and Necro. So it's an 8-unit comp. Takes 8 units. That's pretty solid. And you've got a floating 3rd Hunter, which can be like a Mirana 2-star, a Lycan 3-star, Beastmaster? I mean, hey, why not? You have that option. Windrunner. The Hunter slot is really flexible, basically. And for Scrappies, I guess it means you can just cut one of the Inventors. So it's like Alchemist, Sniper, and then 2 of either Clockwork, Timbersaw, or Tinker. Keeps you nice and flexible, which is kind of nice. 6 Scrap, 3 Assassins with Slark now. 6 Scrap, 3 Assassins is pretty solid as well, just because Bounty Hunter links it. I think 6 Scrap, 3 Assassins, if you can get the Slark train on, is a really good option as well. Like the Bounty Hunter, you can actually use his Assassin tag now, and you can always just jam in, hey, new Sand King in that build looks pretty good for the floating Assassin. You know, level 2 Quap that's gone on good progress for level 3. Why the hell not, right? 6 Scrappy, 3 Assassin looks like a real thing too. I mean, there's different ways to play it. You can still just play the old build. You can still just run like 4 Scrappy frontline for like Warlock or Mage's backline. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just so good now. It's so good. Man. What a crazy change. Tidehunter, 5 armor, up health. Holy shit. Tidehunter all around. He's on the up and up. 10 armor, an extra 250 HP, and attack damage minimum and maximum up by 15 each on level 1. These are crazy buffs, by the way. So Tidehunter, I mean, the amount of value these stats give, I think is kind of ridiculous. I think this is actually insane. When you actually combine the armor and the health changes, this unit is basically getting double EHP. Like, he's effectively twice as tanky against physical damage as he was before. That's a big deal. His attack damage, obviously he's not really an attack damage unit, but it still helps him like charge faster. And I mean, hey, you slap attack damage on anything, he's pretty much, if you're running him, you're always running like the warrior buff as well, so he'll stay alive a decent amount and just hit things. This unit feels somewhat returned to his former glory, honestly. Like, this is a big change. I know it's just stats and it's just like boring, like everything else is getting like flashier stuff, but these stats do matter. Oops. It's a big change. So what is this buff? The scaled pair starts to look better. Honestly, splashing scaled becomes like more viable. Again, this is a big buff. Like, this is a big enough buff to make me start like splashing scaled in comps. It might make mages a bit more counterable just because scaled are just better to go. I mean, this unit just smacks. 6 assassins with frontline SK Tide? Sure. 6 assassins with frontline SK Tide. I mean, why the hell not? Like, you can easily run 6 assassins with this, pair scaled with Slark. Absolutely. It's like, it's good enough to be like a solo tank almost in something like Six Assassins. I might try something like that. I'm not sure how much of a believer I am in Six Assassins, just because you feel like you need more frontline than that. But we'll try it. Bloodthorn no longer targets silence text passive ability units. That's technically a slight buff, but it doesn't really matter. Helmet and dying. Fixed on dying units sometimes doing ram damage. Okay. Fixed Bloodseeker both not activating the helm, but also dying when he bleeds out. Now he activates the health. Okay. How much of a bug was that? Was that carrying the Bloodseeker helm interaction? Because it didn't happen 100% of the time, right? I don't know when it happened. Or was it 100% of the time? Helmseeker is the same. I don't think this is like a huge change. It's just a bug fix. And then we get to Refresher Orb, which is what all of us here are creaming our pants about, apparently. Let's read this. In addition to its current actions, halves the remaining cooldown time of active cooldown of allies within one cell and restores 25 mana to them. Holy shit. What? Why? Wait a second. So they took Refresher, an already really good item, and they just slapped Octarine, Aura, and Arcane Boots onto it? Not only when you buy a Refresher, buy now, and for free, you'll receive 1 Arcane Boots and like 2 or 3 Octarine cores. What? Dude. What? Is this better than Moonshard now? This is so nuts. It doesn't do 50%, it's 50% of remaining cooldown. Yeah. It's not. It's remaining cooldown, and it's only if it's already on cooldown. So basically, you want the Refresher to trigger after your other units have done their cooldown, right? Because then it'll restore the mana. Or if it's before, it's giving 25 mana as well. I mean, how nuts is this? As good as this is, I don't think it can be better than Moonshard. I know that's gonna seem weird. Even in Scrappy, it's nuts. It's a little bit clunky to use in some situation. It is nuts. It is crazy. Obviously, it's kind of hard to compare. I mean, if you're on a build like Scrappy's and you don't have level 3 SF, this is easily gonna be better than Moonshard. If you're on a build like Knights, Moonshard on my Luna, Refresher Orb on like my Abaddon, it just gives a bit of mana and maybe halves the cooldown. So it's like you want to. So what do you put Refresher on? Because you want the Abaddon to shield first, and then you like refresh something else next to it. You want the Abaddon to shields and refresh the shields, and then on top of that, maybe you're like having your Omni Knights cooldown. That kind of sucks, right? It's like it helps a bit. It is a big buff, for sure. Is it gonna restore 75 mana on the units it's equipped to now? So that's a good question, because I don't think so. It's kind of impossible to tell from this description without actually playing. Can anyone confirm? Is it 50 for the unit or 75 for the unit? Because if it gives you the Arcane Boots buff on top, then it's actually 75, which would be a big deal, by the way. I don't think it's 75 though. You plop it on a Necrophos in the middle of everything? Yeah, sure. Refresher next to a Bracers unit. Other unit ults 3 times, maybe? That can happen sometimes, yeah. It's definitely a big buff. Refresher just moved up a lot of points. This update is great. I do like the idea of it, I guess. I mean, it does kind of feel like they're buffing stuff that's already strong. Like they're buffing Brawny, and here they're buffing Sniper and Scrappy. And they're buffing like Ogre stuff, I guess, and Sand King. I think the 6 Scrappy 3 Assassin build seems pretty sweet if you can actually get the Slark 3 online. But everything is sweet if you chuck a Slark 3 in there, right? I do think that's nuts. 6 Scrappy 3 Assassin is suddenly a really good build. For sure. Absolutely. It's 50 mana, not 75. Just tested in dev mode. Okay, sweet. So we have confirmation. It's a total of 50 mana, not 75. Anyway, that's I guess that's it. I mean, we can hop into some games now and see what we can do in this exciting new meta.